Jai Sri Ram. On crime and criminality. It is criminal to steal a purse. It is daring to steal a fortune. It is a mark of greatness to steal a crown. The blame diminishes as the guilt increases. Nice lines. We sow an act and reap a habit. We sow a habit and reap a character. We sow a character and reap a destiny. Wonderful. Sow an act, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. Vasana balam. These are called samskaras. Samskara in Sanskrit means tendencies, past tendencies. Engram is another word in English. ENGRAM. Engram is a trace of thoughts, words, and actions which is retained in the mind and which will prod you and prompt you and goad you to act in a particular manner. That's an engram, ENGRAM. So be careful of what you think, say, or do, because this will start a ripple effect, and it will reap a habit. And the habit will, when you sow the habit, that means once or twice you indulge in something, then it becomes a habit, and that will bring about the creation of your character. And once you sow a character, that means character is reinforced, then a particular destiny awaits you. And finally, the last comment: the root causes of crime are poverty, okay, unemployment, underemployment. That's interesting, isn't it? So if you are underemployed, you will commit some crime. So make sure that you are fully employed and fully self-actualized. In 24 hours, are you fully occupied? Is there any unnecessary time where you don't know what to do? Then the idle man's brain becomes the devil's workshop. Racism, correct. I think he has forgotten to add bigotry, which is there in the Bible and the Quran. Bigotry for the unbelievers. So that is also a cause of crime. This man Patrick V. Murphy, perhaps because he is a fanatical Christian, has not included bigotry, Pigotry. Bigotry means intolerance. So Christianity and Islam are completely bigoted. If you read their holy books, you will realize that the dictum, the order, the command, the imperative, the diktat, the fiat, FIAT, decree, the ordinance, the order, the injunction. Injunction means an authoritative warning or an order. The diktat in these holy books says that only those who are baptized or only those who have accepted their God will be saved. Others have to be proselytized or killed, while their women can be utilized as sexual objects and children also can be utilized as sex toys or whatever. That is the implication. It is really shocking how 4 billion people are still following these religions. They have to take a close look at what is written in the text. They will bend backwards to rationalize it. And I am sick and tired of these rationalizations. They don't make any sense. There are many rationalizations. They give you many creative explanations that at that time, in that war, it was necessary. My counter is always this: if it is a contextual instruction, which is again unethical and adharmic, even if I treat it as a contextual instruction, then how can it become normative? How can it become part of a holy book? It should be part of a history textbook, and you should actually condemn it, that this was the action we were told to do at that time in history, because there was a battle going on and the other party was committing crimes, so we retaliated with a crime which is of course not justified, and so this is not part of our holy book, this should be part of a history textbook. That's what they should say. But are they willing to say that? No. On the contrary, they will attack you. They will say sartan se juda and file 295A, 153A non-bailable offences in Indian Penal Code, which is worse than blasphemy. For blasphemy in other countries, in Islamic countries and Christian nations, criticizing Jesus Christ in UK is a capital crime. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Find out the law. Of course, they are tolerating it perhaps because they have forgotten that they have such a law. The police are not omniscient. Na? The police and law enforcers, judges don't know the law fully. So, I think he has forgotten to add bigotry. Bigotry should be added. In fact, bigotry is the cause of the biggest crimes in the history of mankind. 6 million Jews were gassed to death and killed and tortured in concentration camps by Hitler. And about 80 million Hindus have been killed by Islamic invaders, including Akbar, who butchered, and he who was fond of piling up, making mountains of Hindu skulls. If you read the narrative, you will be shocked. The truth is completely shocking. What they have taught us in school is a whitewashed version of history, glorifying the invaders. Okay, so Christianity also has committed its share of crimes in the whole of the history of mankind. In India, we have had the Goan Inquisition, where lakhs of Hindus were beheaded, burnt alive, women were raped, and children were impaled and killed and worst. And we are calling the person who spearheaded this entire thing as a saint, Saint Francis Xavier, who was the mastermind of the Goan Inquisition. And his body is still mummified and preserved, and foolish, gullible, ignorant Hindus go and pay their respects there to that fellow's mummy. So, isn't this sad? No country does this. Do you think in Israel there will be a Hitler street or a statue of Hitler, or Israelites will go and worship Hitler and say that he is Saint Hitler? Horrible things are happening in our country. So, Mr. Patrick V. Murphy, I think we must inform him, sir, please include bigotry also, then only your quote will be accepted. Poor health care, okay. Bad housing, yes, because in one house, if you are having half a dozen wives and 25 children, and what will happen? So the children can see every day the romping that is happening in the house, and so there will be hardly any food. That's why they have to eat cows. They will slaughter. They will eat anything and everything. In fact, there have been incidents. Of course, you cannot generalize them, but there have been incidents where they have cannibalized. They have eaten humans. So all these things are there. So bad housing, weak schools. Yeah, obviously, the school is weak because it is only teaching dangerous dogma. No science, no math, no debating, no question of debating. Asking questions is not allowed. In the Holy Quran 5.101, don't ask questions is the instruction. The instruction is don't ask questions. 5.101. Please check. And teenage pregnancy, yes. Single parent families, yes. Alcoholism, mental illness, okay. Mental illness, alcoholism, yes. Drugs, single parent families. That is why you see the Hindu system, which emphasizes great importance on parenthood. Matru devo bhava, pitru devo bhava, atiti devo bhava, acharya devo bhava. Upadhyayan dashacharya, acharyanam shatam pita, sahasrantu pitrun, acharyanam upadhyayan dashacharya. Acharyanam upadhyayan, no, upadhyayan dashacharya, acharyanam shatam pita. Sahasrantu pitrun mata gauravena atirichyate. Upadhyaya, one who teaches one or two subjects, raised to the level of 10 is acharya. Upadhyayan dashacharya. Acharyanam shatam pita. Acharya raised to 100 is equivalent to the respect, equivalent to father. That means that is the respect you must give to your father. Acharya means one who teaches all the acharas, custom, tradition, and he is like a professor who can teach you a whole range of subjects and who can teach you everything, almost everything that you need for life. Acharyanam shatam pita, sahasrantu pitrun mata gauravena atirichyate. 1000, the father raised to the power of 1000, logarithmically, exponentially. Father raised to the power of 1000 is equal to mother, which means the mother, or not even, I mean, it still falls short of the respect that you owe, or that is the respect that you should, that a mother is deserving of. So this is what Manu is saying. What a wonderful slokam. Of course, now parents have become, in many societies, the parents have become so bad, they are drunkards and setting all kinds of wrong examples. So I don't think this shloka applies to those kind of parents. So now teenage pregnancy. I heard that 30% of teenage girls in America are mothers. Teenage pregnancy, unwed mothers, and so usually there are many schools, I believe, which have a creche attached. So the teenage girl deposits her baby and goes to school and studies. So this is the state to which they have degenerated, teenage pregnancy. And a society of selfishness and greed. Yes, currently Hindu society is perfectly fitting into this model, society of selfishness and greed. So we are extremely selfish. All caste. There is no caste in Hinduism, by the way. So you will find that selfishness and greed has overtaken us to such an extent that we are willing to commit crimes. Of course, some sophisticated criminals are there who don't actually slit necks and slaughter people, but they will slaughter entire societies. Entire families will be destroyed very gently, meaty churi. So this kind of politicians we are seeing, lawyers, doctors, teachers or cheaters. See, I find many teachers throughout my career, I used to say there are two types of teachers and teachers. So the pun is on the word teacher. So some are teachers and some are not teachers, though they are called teachers, they are cheaters. They set the wrong example, they teach nonsense, even when they don't know anything, they will bullshit. In my career, I had a situation where once, because I was always obsessed about learning and making sure that I do a good job and teach my students what they need to learn. So I used to read a lot and I used to be a real neurotic, going to the library, studying and teaching and going on doing everything. And so of course I got a good name and my students used to call me an all-rounder when I was working in the university, because I used to teach 6 subjects. Though I was originally employed to teach only one, I ended up teaching subjects in which I don't have any basic qualification, and I have written 5 textbooks. So I got the title all-rounder, and now others were all jealous, so much so that the principal was worried that I might topple her, and eventually I did that anyway. The management realized that I'll be the best man for the top job. Of course, the management itself was very greedy, so because when I didn't fall in line, I had to leave that job. Before they sacked me, I left. So this is in short my story, where I realized that super competence is considered intolerable. If you are incompetent, you will be encouraged. If you are competent, you will be ignored. But if you are super competent, you will be kicked out. So this is the state of society we are in. We have produced a kakistocracy, kleptocracy, and instead of a meritocracy, which is what the Veda wanted to create a meritocracy. So I was once told in the staff room, I can't forget that day. I was sitting there. Generally in the staff room, all the teachers, professors and associate professors, about 20 of them, we used to sit once in a day. There used to be at least one occasion where we all sit together for a few minutes, if not for a couple of hours. So I was told tauntingly by everyone, you don't know the ABCD of teaching. I asked, what is this ABCD? You know the background, I told you. They are jealous because of the reputation that I have acquired while they are still struggling, and they noticed that I am a neurotic, so they wanted to taunt me. So they said, you don't know the ABCD of teaching. I said, what is this ABCD of teaching? Honestly, I don't know. So they told me, see, listen, you are struggling so much studying and teaching. Do you think students come to college to learn? No. They have their own agendas. They have to flirt. The girls have to flirt with the boys with the girls, and they have to drink, and their parents send money so that these fellows can get drunk and get drugs and do everything else. Education is the last thing on their mind. But you are bending backwards. Of course, without calling me a fool, that's what they were telling me, that you are a bloody fool. You are doing all this because you are thinking that students come here to study. Students don't come to study. Get this clear. Students don't come to universities and colleges to study. Get this clear. That's the message. And then I asked, what is this ABCD? Then they told me. Then, if somebody, my question was actually the unasked question rather, what if a student asks you a question on something and if you don't know the subject? So the answer is ABCD of teaching. A means avoid the question. Avoid the question. Indulge in whataboutery, beat around the bush, evade, be evasive, elude, evade, and talk about something else and distract that fellow, and he will forget the question. He will not ask you that question again, because once in a while, their intelligence might come to the surface, and they will look up like water. If they are drowning, once in a while they will take a gulp of fresh air and ask you a question which matters, but they will forget again, because they will go down again, they will sink, they will forget it. That is avoiding. So suppose it does not work, then the next strategy is B. B is bullshit, bluff. Then I said, if you bluff, they will find out. No, that's again you are making a mistake. You can bluff them, confidently bluff them. Whatever you don't know also you bluff, because that fellow is not going to go to any library to read and check whether you are right. You don't even know this much, that you can confidently bluff the student. Suppose even that does not work. Maybe 1 in a million a student will go to the library and study and check. Then you confuse A, B, C, D, C, confuse the student. Say many things and this and that, and give him the feeling that he is an idiot. He has got confused, he has not understood the real thing. But you don't have to explain anything, you just confuse that fellow and leave him, because then he will remain confused. He will not make that extra research effort to know. So again you are saved. So why are you wasting your time studying so much and doing all these extra efforts? And it's a thankless job. Okay, they will call you nice things like you are an all-rounder, but is that sufficient? You are wasting your time and energy. They are not going to learn anything. And suppose even that there comes a student who really undertakes research and who refuses to get confused. The last one they told me D, A, B, C, D. D is divide and rule. How? I asked. Then they said, very simple. You make a statement like this. Hare, everyone in the class have understood except you. Which is indirectly you are telling that fellow, you are a bloody idiot. All the others have understood nothing anyway. But the moment you give them praise like this, they will be very happy and they will start booing this fellow. And that is how divide and rule applies in teaching. So they enlightened me on this. But I said, thank you very much. See, a cow can only give milk. A sandalwood tree, even if it is struck down by the axe, it will perfume that axe. So a rose has to give only roses. Though some thorns might be there. So my answer was, see, I cannot be like you, because I am like a cow, and a cow will take the minimum resource and give the maximum benefit to society. I can't be anything else. Jai Shri Ram.